In life, we encounter people every day, all of whom have stories to share. We rarely take the time to ask people their personal stories, many of which will touch, move, and inspire us in some way. Matt has a passion for making authentic connections and learning about people from all walks of life. He has lived a life of giving back to the community and making a difference in people's lives. Are you ready to meet fascinating people and hear some inspiring stories? The Matt Hilton Show will introduce you to a world of possibilities you never knew existed. Sit back, be present, and enjoy. Here's your host, Matt Hilton.
Hey everyone, Matt Hilton here, the host of the Matt Hilton Show. Thanks for tuning in. Today's episode is going to be a continuation of the best of from the past year. Thank you all so much for tuning in each and every week and subscribing to the YouTube channel. And now for a word from our sponsor.
With almost 20 years of real estate experience in the North Texas area, the professional realtors at Hilton Realty Advisors have helped over 500 clients with their housing needs. Hilton Realty Advisors covers all areas of real estate: buying, selling, building, investing, and renting. We deliver the keys to homeownership to all through integrity, love, and joy. Call us today for all of your real estate needs.
For many of you that have tuned into the Matt Hilton Show over the past year, one of the favorites is Granny Tate. And I see her as the most talented guest that I've had. You'll remember on the stage, she had all of her creations that she has created over the years at the ripe, young age of 93. Stay tuned. Amongst us is a lot of things that you have created here. We have a vase that is painted over there, and it's a beautiful vase. Did you make the vase as well? Or did you?
No, I didn't make that vase.
Okay, you painted it.
I painted it.
All right.
Blank white.
All right. And then just below that vase, tell us about doll creation. How did you create that doll?
Well, I had the molds. I bought molds. I've got molds right now and all kinds of molds. I made dolls. I've got a room. Well, you saw the dolls. I got a room full of dolls that I made. Yeah.
So I asked you to bring your favorite doll today. Why is that doll one of your favorites?
He's a little boy.
Little boy.
I like little boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Well, he is a cutie.
Yeah.
What is the hair made out of?
It's from an old wig.
Okay.
A wig.
Just from an old wig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you make the clothes as well, or did you
I made
buy
the clothes.
those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I made the clothes.
Yeah. And when I was setting that up today, it is ceramic. Like it's heavy.
Yes, it is.
The legs, move on their own, so it's a well-made doll.
Yeah.
So
I got a lot of them. You saw it.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
Saw it.
I saw a whole room of them on a lot of shelves.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Some of them were kind of scary looking too.
I know it. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're supposed to be.
I know they are. Yeah.
It makes it more interesting when you get a lot of kinds, different kinds.
For sure. And I saw a lot of different kinds of dolls.
You did.
Where did you get your inspiration for making the dolls?
Well, it was just something that I liked. I collected antique dolls. That was mainly, some of those are antiques.
Okay.
But a lot of them is what I've made. Well, it was a thing that we just did. The old ladies, several old ladies around, and that's what we did.
So you
and
started...
I sold them. I took them to markets.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay.
I went to the markets with them a lot.
So these dolls are potentially in people's houses that are watching the show today?
Yes, all over, everywhere, forever. Because I traveled with them and set up with them in the flea markets in a lot of different places. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been in some shows, done shows in different little towns down in East Texas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been a lot of work, but I loved it.
Yes, ma'am.
Met a lot of good people.
You're definitely a creative because, we have this plate that you've painted as well.
Yeah, right.
And it has some roses on it.
Yeah.
I hear that's your favorite flower is a rose. Is that
That's
correct?
right. Red roses. And I've got a song I'm singing all the time. Red roses. Yeah.
And that's what that is over there beside you, are some red roses on one of those
right.
shelves.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
red roses are all around you.
Yes.
And did you have red roses growing up? Is it something that you?
Yes, I always have red roses.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
Your favorite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roses, red roses are my favorites, but I've had a lot of different kinds of flowers in my yards everywhere I live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said that you wrote a song called Red Roses.
I did, and I sing it a lot.
So you still sing it?
Yes, I sing
So
it.
what did you write this song? Who did you write the song for? What was the background behind the song?
Well, it's just a love song.
A love song.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Was it for someone
You
in
want
particular?
me to sing it? You want me to sing it?
Well, was it for somebody in particular? Or
Well,
was
it
it
could
just
have
a
been
generic love song?
my husband.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
my husband.
Yeah. So yes, to answer your question, I'd love
Yes.
for you to sing it.
All right. Red roses to say that I love you. Oh, red roses say I need you. Red roses tell a story, oh, a story that's never been told. Red roses bloom in the springtime. Red roses bloom in the fall. Red roses say that I need you, and I love you most of all. Oh, that I love you most of all, most of all.
That's fantastic. Y'all give her a round of applause.
I'm telling you.
That's awesome. Thank you for doing
Yes,
that.
yes.
And do you sing that currently when because I understand you go and you sing at different places around the Hearst, Euless, Bedford area?
All over, yes.
Yeah? And
Yes,
you still
I
sing that song?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's
I've seen
one
some
of-
videos of you dancing around too, so I know you get up and dance
Well,
too.
I've danced a lot. Yes, I have.
Do you
Yes,
have a favorite style of dance? Do you like
Not
to
the-
ballroom dance, country
well,
dance?
I like it all.
You like it all?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just according to what the need is at the time.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Needs to have a good beat.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta have a good beat. That's
Right.
it. That's the main thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
But that's in music. You gotta be on. I got a song that's floating around right now by a guy that's traveled the whole world, and he's singing it, and I'm harmonizing with him
You
on
are?
it, and it's and he's big in music.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
it a song you wrote?
No.
Okay, so you're harmonizing
the
with
Milk Cow Blues. It's an old country western out of Fort Worth.
Okay.
Yeah. And he sang, I yodel. I yodel too. I yodel.
And what's the
behind
name
him.
of that song?
The Milk Cow Blues.
Milk Cow Blues.
Yeah,
Okay. So I'm
yeah.
going to ask you towards the end of the show to maybe sing that one. I'd love to hear you yodel. All right. But I'll do that in a little bit.
Oh my God.
Well, you're not going to get me to sing, but Red Roses, Red Roses. What a lovely woman. And I am so honored that she was a guest on my show. This next clip that I'm going to share with you is my personal trainer and friend, Tim McComsey, and I have dubbed him as the most athletic guest of the year. You'll hear a part of his story that he shares with us, and even behind his muscles and good looks, you'll see that he has a past that he had to deal with in order to get where he is today. Stay tuned. You know, a part of this show is fascinating people and inspiring stories, right? So in the 6 years that I've known Tim, you know, just like a hairstylist, your weight trainer becomes some sort of a therapist, right? You tell them everything and they talk to you about stuff. So over the years, we have shared stories. And one of the stories that Tim has shared with me is his battle with bulimia in growing up. And so with that being said, I want to delve into that a little bit, because just because you were athletic, active, you still had some personal issues with your body image and things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
So
correct.
what led to, if you can go back in time, do you recall what led to the bulimia?
The bulimia is a tricky one because at that became later on in my life in my early 20s. So I believe the other stuff that came before would be like exercise orexia, where you exercise too much and you eat super healthy, so the caloric intake doesn't match what you're outputting and inputting. So your body actually becomes slower, your muscle mass becomes less, things like that. So you actually do more harm to your body than good at a state like that. But I believe it probably around the age of 14, 15 is when I noticed, now looking back, when things started happening for me in a bad way.
Okay, so you said exercise orexia.
Exercise orexia. Yeah.
Right, so that's not anorexia.
Correct.
So what is the difference in the two? So this is going to be an educational moment for me and the viewers and listeners.
Anorexia is more popular, and what anorexia is when someone just doesn't want to eat. They have a fear of eating, so they'll find ways not to eat food, and they tend to get smaller and stuff that way. Exercise orexia is more of a newer term. It's when you eat something, but then you want to exercise. You run a couple miles after you're done eating to try to burn those calories. Or in my case, I ate super healthy, like the healthiest I ever eaten in my life. I can never do it again, by the way. It'd be impossible. You eat super healthy, but then you exercise a lot. So playing soccer, training for soccer, working out with weights were things I did on top of eating healthy. But your calories are here, and then what you're burning for exercise is up here. So you're basically burning your muscle tissue. You're getting not enough calories to support your body mass.
Right. So you said that happened before the bulimia.
Yeah, that happened probably a good 5 years before the bulimia.
Okay, so into the headspace of someone who was, exercise orexia, for several years, and then is there a transference into bulimia? I mean, or was there a time period where there wasn't much going on? You were accepting of who you were? Like, I'm curious.
I don't think in general there's any timeline for everyone. So I'm speaking for me here when I speak about this. Yeah. Looking back on it now, I think it was a 4 to 5 year transition into trying to be so perfect with the food and trying to be so perfect on the soccer field, and not to let your friends down, your parents down, your brothers down, to be the best you could be to keep your teams winning, right? So what I noticed was that perfection, you lose control of it. The next thing you do, you just realize you're starting to binge your food at certain times, more so emotional eating. And then after a while, you don't feel good. You have so much food that you don't feel good. And then you start learning how to binge your food, which is never a good place to be. But it was a place I went for probably a few years.
Yeah. You recall what led to that, Tim? Like, was there, and again, if you don't want to share anything, let me know. Yeah. But was there something emotional that happened? Was there a trigger that happened early in life?
Things happen in your life. A lot of things happened in my life, I think, at the time, but I'm one today never to blame stuff on external circumstances. But around that time, I think when I did the transfer, I was a freshman year in college, 2 hours away from home, everything unfamiliar, playing soccer at a place I don't want to play soccer. And then my parents ended up getting divorced that year. So from the external eye, it would look like my parents' divorce led me to be bulimic. But me knowing me and who I am now today, that was not the case. So my parents, mom, dad, if you're watching, you guys, it's not because of you that I became bulimic. I believe there was things within me that caused me to do it. And I think it still goes back to being perfect, OCD, wanting to be the best, and just not being able to control some things in my life.
So where do you think that came from? Being perfect and OCD? Because I have some of those tendencies too. So
yeah, you do. Yeah.
So where do you think that came from?
I think it just came from the drive. Just my growing up, just being good at soccer at one point, being really good at soccer, trying to maintain that for the rest of my life. Go to the Division I school, maybe go play professionally somewhere overseas, or even MLS. I think it was a little bit early for that, but MLS or something like that, just to continue that, to make myself happy maybe, and then to make other people happy at the same time.
Right. Okay. So looking back, if you were to tell your younger self something that, that you've learned over the years, what would you tell your younger self today?
To keep it simple, I would just say be you. Just be you. Just be who you're going to be. Don't worry about the outside pressures, external people telling you stuff. Even nowadays with my business or the way I carry myself and the things I do, people say stuff and I don't really care. I'm going to do what makes me happy. I mean, you know that. You've been training me off and on for a few years. People say stuff to me. I'm like, cool. That's what you think. I'm good. Yeah. But so just live the life that makes you happy in a healthy way.
Yeah. And that means so much to you that you got it tattooed on your wrist, right?
Yeah, I got a tattoo on my wrist, a BU.
Yeah. So it says "Be You," and when I first met him, that was right after I came out of being gay, and I remember seeing that tattooed on your wrist and going, "Okay, if he believes in being you, then I can be me, and not have to worry about anything." Yeah. Right. So that was something that I felt a connection with him when I first met him. So he's a good, genuine guy is what I'm trying to say. And when he says "be you," he means to be you. And so I appreciate that about you. I don't know if I've ever told you that, but thank you for that.
No, you're welcome. I appreciate you too.
Yeah. Well, thank you, sir. Yeah. Tim, thank you for sharing that part of your story with us. And anyone who needs a great personal trainer, contact Tim McComsey. He's the best. Now for our final category, and I have chosen for the most bossy, Jeff Crilley. And no, Jeff isn't really the most bossy person, but I couldn't think of any other title to give him. But I did enjoy his interview, and I wanted you to listen to a part of his story that he told us during his time with us.
What I did not predict, Matt, when I wrote the book was it would become my exit from TV. And my whole identity was tied up in TV news. So I never really intended to leave TV news. But I just discovered that, man, I was having more fun speaking and making people laugh than I was doing the news. And often towards the end of my news career, and it ended in 2008 when I quit, I was doing a lot of murders and fires. And, you talk about, having those moments where you're taking on somebody's grief. Sometimes I'm in the living room of a family who just lost a loved one hours earlier. And I am honestly just taking on all of that, because in order to be a good reporter, you have to empathize. And to empathize with a grieving family where the wound is that fresh, I felt like I was constantly taking on grief. And after a while, it was wearying. And I said, I think I would rather tell happy stories and help people, tell their own story. And now here we are in studios where you're getting to tell very unique stories, all your own. I got to brag on Matt, because Matt you and I became reacquainted, I want to say about a year ago, right? And I showed you some of our studios, and I remember laying on your heart about a year ago, you should think about doing a television show. And I think it took a little while for you to adjust to that idea, but you called me up, and it was a very happy day, because you said, Jeff, I'm going to take you up on that. We're gonna do a show. Yeah. And I think you get a lot of joy from this, don't you?
Oh, I do. I get a ton of joy from it. And that was something I wanted to bring up as well is, you brought me in because I had created a nonprofit, and you brought me in to interview. I reached out to you to ask you, hey, I'd love to tell you about my nonprofit. And you said, well, why don't you be on the show? Right, so I took a page from your free publicity book. All
right, this is the part of the Matt Hilton show where Jeff takes over, and now I'm in.
No. I was afraid of that. No. So that's what happened. And you interviewed me, and it was, and afterwards you said, I think you would be really good at doing something, like this in this format. So I thought about it, prayed about it. It wasn't something I'm really, in the past, have been really bad about making quick decisions and not thinking through. So I really wanted to think about what was going to be the format, who were going to be my guests initially to get it off the ground. So I really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, no, I love to see you in the hallways, and Matt has such a kind heart and a generous spirit. It's nice. I mean, you add an extra something to this studio, because you bring joy. And when I see you now in the hallways, it's always like, okay, Matt, what episode are we on now? Do you remember? What episode is this? Do you remember?
I don't. It's probably 10 or 11,
right?
Something like that.
See, that's really cool.
Yeah. It's fun. So as we move forward, I want to go back real quick, because you did say something that I just want to validate what you said.
Sure.
You said, when man makes a plan, God laughs, right? You had a plan of being in that newsroom.
I did.
You had a plan of, you wanted to be, this lead reporter, you wanted to be so by a certain age, right? Mm-hmm. And you thought that was going to happen, but then you wrote the book, and as you said, it kind of took you out of that role, out of that environment, right? So you had a plan, and God had another one for you. So,
Yes.
and we're here today, right, at Real News Communications Network, and it's interesting because how long ago did you change the name? Because it used to be Real News Public Relations.
So
right?
we actually have both names. So my daughter named this network. It's kind of funny, and we still have the letters. They're out in the lobby. I came in one day because we'd started to do shows, and I came in one day and I saw these letters, RNCN, and my daughter's my vice president, and so I innocently asked. I said, "What is RNCN, Sarah?" And she says, "The Real News Communications Network, Dad." I was like, I kind of like that. And about that time, fake news had come along. So real news versus fake news. I was like, I do like RNCN. And it kind of, looks like call letters for a radio station like WKRP or something like that. And so it stuck. And I'm so glad that we ended up naming it that, because when you look on Google at our body of work, and now there's like, thousands and thousands of shows, Google and YouTube see us as a network no different than ABC or NBC. If you look back through the body of our work, it looks like a network you might find in New York.
Yeah. And being in communications as much as you have, you've seen it evolve over the years. So I'm going to ask you to look in your crystal ball real quick.
Okay.
Where do you see reporting and this social media and communications as a whole evolving over the coming, let's just say, decade?
Yes. So what I see happening is commercial television in general is on the decline. It's just slowly, the audiences are eroding. Why? Because we all have this rectangle. And most of the time people don't care how it got to the rectangle, whether it came from YouTube or, our website or ABC News New York. We don't really differentiate anymore. And so what I see happening with our network and how this is the future is what we have clients that we get on the news all the time, local news, NBC, ABC, CBS. And sometimes they'll come back and they'll say, yeah, but I only got 3 minutes. And I'm like, well, I can't control that. That's not my candy store. But now we have this candy store where you can tell your own story without editing or fear of censorship or anything like that.
Right.
And the epiphany for me, Matt, was, and the viewer can do this as well, go to YouTube and just put in teenage makeup tips. And you'll see a 13-year-old girl doing makeup, and you'll see the subscribers, and you'll see 3 million followers. Well, to put that into perspective, the CBS Evening News only reaches about 900,000 right now. So if a 13-year-old girl on a webcam can have triple the audience of the CBS Evening News, it means the thing has already shifted. So we're already there. I liken it to Blockbuster and Netflix. You remember when Blockbuster was the behemoth, and then there was this little gnat called Netflix that was just kind of buzzing around its ear? Well, I believe that Netflix has already passed Blockbuster, and Blockbuster being commercial television. I think social media has already overtaken the networks, and the networks may not know it yet. And so this is the future. The future is become the media. And that's exactly what we're doing today. The show that you're doing right now might not air on ABC or NBC or CBS. Why? It's their candy store. But you don't need their permission. You wake up with an idea. I'm going to be the executive producer. I'm going to interview who I want to interview. If I want to talk about my faith on the air, I'm going to talk about my faith on the air, and without fear of some general manager of some station saying, no, you can't say that.
I love that. Can't you just tell that Jeff exudes the qualities of being a great reporter? When I came to the studios here to interview on Jeff's show about a nonprofit that I'm the chief happiness officer of, Jeff walked me down the hall and he encouraged me to host my own show. It took me 2 months to garner the courage and to find the sponsors, but once I made that decision, I owe the opportunity of being the host of the Matt Hilton Show to none other than Jeff Crilley. Thank you all for tuning in to today's show and to all of the episodes of the Matt Hilton Show from the past year and hopefully for many years to come. And please remember to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, to Facebook, to Instagram, and to any other platform where the Matt Hilton Show is either heard or seen. Thank you all. Have a blessed day.
If you'd like to contact Matt or know a fascinating person with an inspiring story that would make a great guest, reach out to the show at themattHiltonshow@gmail.com.